Billionaire sees his paralyzed daughter and Maid's girl dancing. The shocking truth will haunt you, it was the night that changed everything. In a sprawling mansion perched on a hill, the moonlight flickered across the lavish party, illuminating everything from crystal chandeliers to golden champagne flutes. But the real spectacle wasn't the opulence, it was a dance that would freeze time. Jack Morrison, the billionaire entrepreneur known for his ruthless business savvy, stood at the balcony, a storm brewing inside him. Why was he feeling this tightness in his chest? His gaze fell upon an unexpected sight. It was his paralyzed daughter Lily, eyes wide, her spirit radiating something he hadn't seen in years. And right next to her, the maid's daughter, a sprightly girl with a dazzling smile, was dancing, her movements a mixture of joy and grace that felt almost otherworldly. The party around them faded into a hushed silence, murmurs rippling like a wave through the crowd. Jack's heart pounded. Lily had not moved on her own since the tragic accident 3 years ago. And yet, there she was, her fingers twitching, her lips curving into an almost smile as if the music was electrifying her still body. Was he hallucinating? Confusion wrapped around him like a thick fog. Questions swirled, how could this be happening? Was he seeing things? His grip on the railing tightened. What was really going on? The tension in the room was palpable, people exchanging glances filled with disbelief and shock. The violinist's notes hung in the air, blending with the anxious whispers of the guests. Is she really moving? What is going on with Lily? And the air thickened with a sense of foreboding, a whisper that something unnatural was unfolding. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But as the murmurs grew louder, so did the chilling realization that something was terribly amiss. The girl was no ordinary dancer, her twirls seemed enchanted, almost as if she was casting a spell over Lily. Was it a trick of the light? Or could it be something darker, a hidden power at play? Jack's intuition fired, that familiar mix of dread and fascination creeping back in. The crowd gasped as more shifts in Lily's expression came alive. She lifted a trembling hand, not just moving, but reaching out as if in desperate need of something or someone. What was she trying to grasp? The connection between the two girls shook everyone to the core. As Jack stepped closer, aching to grasp the unfolding drama, his world tilted on its axis. What was the truth behind this encounter? The whispers bounced around him like a feverish chant, each more unsettling than the last. And as the final note of the violin fell like a shroud of silence on the ballroom, Jack stared into the unknown, heart racing. How had a moment of magic turned into a ticking time bomb of revelations? What lay ahead would haunt him forever. The music faded, but the tension hung thick in the air. Jack's heart raced as he stepped forward, each stride feeling heavier than the last. His eyes flickered between Lily and the maid's daughter, her name barely a murmur in his mind. Mia. What could this stranger do that had broken through the walls of his daughter's silence? As he approached, the crowd seemed to part, their whispers punctuated by gasps and speculative glances. He could hear snippets of hushed conversations. Is it a miracle? How is this even possible? A prickling sensation crept up his spine, a warning that something far more sinister than a mere act of joy might be at play. Lily's brow furrowed, her beautiful blue eyes locking onto Jack with a clarity that both terrified and thrilled him. For the first time, he felt a flicker of hope. Yet, as he reached out to touch her, the connection felt charged, almost electric. What force was this girl wielding by merely dancing? Mia twirled, her skirt blooming like a flower opening to the sky, casting ripples of light across the room. She seemed oblivious to the unsettling atmosphere, lost in the rhythm and her own joy. But Jack saw it differently. Every spin brought new life into Lily, a tether snaking between them that sent shivers down his spine. What if this wasn't just a dance? What if Mia was doing something more? As the violinist resumed, a haunting melody took hold. Jack caught Lily's hand, trembling and fragile. And in that touch, a surge of emotion coursed through him: relief, fear, and something darker, lurking beneath. The crowd remained transfixed, eyes glued to the scene unfolding before them. He could feel paranoia creeping in, palpable like a fog rolling into the mansion, suffocating rational thought. "Stay still, Lily," he whispered, almost to reassure himself. He couldn't bear to watch any more. But Lily, as if hearing him, shook her head ever so slightly. "Dad," she mouthed, the sound barely escaping her lips, but the weight of it wrapped around him like chains. What did she want? What truth was she trying to convey? Jack's eyes darted to Mia, spinning with abandon, a smile on her face that felt too bright for this moment. Innocence intertwined with an uncanny aura, and Jack felt a sense of foreboding. If she could restore Lily's movements, what had she sacrificed? What darkness lay behind that cheerful façade? Suddenly, Mia slowed her dance, her eyes landing on Jack with an intensity that sent a jolt through him. It was as if she saw the very depths of his soul. The room teetered on the edge, hearts hanging in a collective breath, and Jack's suspicions blossomed. Then, all at once, the music stopped. Mia froze in place, and an oppressive silence enveloped them. Jack's heart sank. Something shifted in the atmosphere, a chill that ricocheted through the delighted assemblage, now turned spectators to an impending doom. Lily's gaze, once alight with hope, dimmed as she focused intently on Mia. "There's something you need to know," she whispered hoarsely, as Jack's breath hitched in his throat. What did she mean? What truth was about to unravel? As curiosity and fear battled within him, Jack felt the ground beneath him waver. Would this revelation push him towards healing, or drag him deeper into chaos? With that single, wavering look exchanged, the night held its breath, and Jack knew one thing for certain: the truth would emerge, and nothing would ever be the same again. Lily's words hung in the air, heavy as lead. Jack's heart raced, pounding in his chest like a desperate drum. He felt the cold sweat beating on his forehead, the silence deafening. What truth did Lily want to share? Mia stood still, a statue in the flickering candlelight, her smile now a chilling mask. Jack's instincts screamed at him, don't trust her. This girl, who had somehow paved a bridge between his daughter's silence and a world filled with music, might be hiding something dark. The crowd swirled with whispered speculation, faces contorting with concern and intrigue. What do you mean, Lily? Jack asked, his voice barely a whisper, laced with urgency. He expected something profound, something that could fracture the walls of doubt closing in around them, but instead, Lily's gaze broke away from Mia, darting toward the crowd. You need to listen to me, Dad, she persisted, her voice gaining strength. I don't know how, but it's real. She sees. She feels. The air grew thicker, suffocating, as he turned back to Mia. She stood there, waiting, her eyes searching his face. Was she a miracle worker or a harbinger of doom? Jack's mind whirled. You could speak to her, Lily. For the first time in months. But what was this surge? Was it joy? Or was it the monstrous shadow of something far more sinister? Stop. Mia suddenly broke into the conversation, her voice slicing through the tension like a blade. It's not what it seems. Jack felt a shiver crawl down his spine. Then tell us what it is. What have you done? The doubt radiated from him, a palpable force swirling around them. Lily's face flickered with indecision, and for a moment, the spark of hope began to fade. Mia, the dance, it's not just a performance. It's a connection. Jack's anger flared. A connection to what? The air crackled with anticipation, and Mia's expression morphed from playful to serious in an instant. An energy, she spoke, her voice taut. The kind that reaches deep, that pulls on hearts unknowingly. It bridges worlds. Jack squinted, his chest tight. What were they implying? An energy? Was this some sort of charade? Suddenly, a leaden weight settled in his gut. The air felt thick with a noxious tension, and he choked back unease. You're talking about magic, Mia. A smile flickered on her lips, but it was tainted with something deeper knowledge that didn't belong in a simple dance. Not magic. This is the truth of our existence. A ripple passed through the crowd, shockwaves that vibrated against the walls of the lavish ballroom. Jack held his breath, searching for a glimpse of reason in Mia's eyes, but all he found was that same chilling intensity. You mean, he stuttered, you can manipulate? No. It's not manipulation. She interrupted fiercely. It's restoration. It just comes with a price. As the implication struck him, a lump formed in Jack's throat. What price, Mia? What has this cost you? The crowd shifted restlessly, eyes darting between him, Lily, and Mia. The atmosphere pulsed something beyond fear, something darker and more terrifying, but Jack had to know. Every dancer has their truth, Mr. Danvers, Mia replied, her voice low and steady. A truth that is burdened by silence. Before he could digest those words, a movement caught his eye. Someone in the crowd, an older woman with sharp features, gasped and clutched her heart, her eyes widening in horror as if she comprehended what they did not. The cacophony of whispers crescendoed like a tempest, swirling into panic. Jack's stomach dropped. Lily. What are we, Dad? Lily cried, urgency coating her tone once more. You have to believe me. And as Jack stood there, frozen, the gravity of their conversation began to take shape, knotting tighter around him like a noose. The truth they were dancing around was about to explode, but first, he had to make a choice. Would he trust Mia and follow this thread into the unknown, or would he pull Lily away, protect her from whatever darkness lingered? The night was far from over. A truth was waiting to emerge, wrapped tightly in the shadows of their dance. The music had stopped, but the real performance was just beginning. What would it reveal? Jack's heart raced, his mind a battlefield of fear and confusion. The crowd's buzz morphed into a low hum in his ears, drowning out everything else. He felt Lily's grip tighten on his hand, a tether to the reality he desperately wanted to believe in. But Mia stood there, her expression a complex tapestry of assurance and warning. Dad, please. Lily's voice broke through the noise, a desperate plea that pinned Jack in place. The weight of the moment pressed down on him, smothering him in a heavy cloak of dread. You don't understand. She can help me. The older woman still clutched her heart, her face drained of color as gasps rippled through the crowd. Stay away from her. She yelled, her voice cracking under the strain of her horror. You don't know what you're inviting. Jack felt a chill skate down his spine. Was it too late to turn back? Was this dance, this connection, forged in something pure or something malevolent? He looked into Mia's eyes, searching for the truth buried beneath the mask she wore. What is the cost? What is the truth you're holding back? Mia's gaze softened, her lips twisting into a sad smile. Sometimes the price isn't something you can see, it's what you're willing to give up. Her words dripped with foreboding, sending a shudder through Jack's core. What do you mean, willing to give up? Jack murmured, his voice barely holding steady against the tide of rising panic. He stole a glance at Lily, her bright eyes now shadowed with uncertainty. Mia stepped closer, the air charged with tension and an energy Jack couldn't comprehend. There are forces at play here, secrets intertwined in the dance. It's not just a gift. It's a choice. Suddenly, a flicker of movement drew Jack's attention. He saw the older woman stumble, her body collapsing to the floor in an unsettling silence as observers gasped in shock. Someone call for help. A man shouted, the panic in his voice infectious, spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Jack's heart sank. Is this because of what you've done? Is she connected to this? He shot an accusatory glare at Mia. No. Mia insisted, her voice rising above the rising chaos. It's not me. It's the energy, the truth I spoke of. It forces itself to the surface. Lily's grip was like a vice, and he could feel her tremble beside him. Dad, we have to help her. At that moment, Jack understood the price Mia mentioned. This wasn't just about Lily's voice or the silent burdens of others. It was about the entanglement of their lives, a web of truths that threatened to ensnare them all. As another shout echoed through the ballroom, Jack fought an urge to retreat. What if stepping forward meant confronting something darker than he had ever imagined? Lily, he breathed, trying to mask the tremor in his voice, are you ready for this? Yes. Her determination sparked a flicker of hope in him, even in the face of rising dread. I have to be. And just as Jack opened his mouth to speak, a wailing siren pierced the air, a reminder of the chaos that hung over them. In the distance, the flicker of lights grew. Police? Medical help? Jack suddenly feared they'd be arriving to a scene that would complicate everything. What would they find when they entered the depths of the dance? Bring her back. Mia cried suddenly, breaking the mounting tension. The dance, it can restore her. What do you mean? Jack's voice escalated, panic swelling in his chest. We can't let that happen. But as Lily stepped forward, something in Mia's eyes shifted. Just trust me. She called, determination cloaked in desperation. Jack felt his own resolve falter. What was trust worth when ties to the unknown bled into reality? Would he step into the void of Mia's truth, or would he turn back, saving Lily but losing her connection? The crowd surged forward, a swell of curiosity and fear. All eyes were glued to them, the silence pregnant with anticipation. Lily! He shouted as she took another step toward Mia, into the shadows of the unknown. Don't, but it was too late. Something shifted, an unseen force crackling in the air around them, ready to unleash the truth they were all too unprepared to face. And then, just as he thought he might lose her forever, the lights flickered, and the music began to swell. Would they be able to read the dance of fate before it swallowed them whole? What awaited them where shadows danced and whispers of truth entwined with despair? The lights pulsed in rhythm with the frantic beat of Jack's heart. Shadows twisted around them, and the walls seemed to breathe in unison with the thrumming music, a pulsating heartbeat that matched the wild chaos in his chest. He felt the weight of the crowd's gaze, their collective breath caught in suspense, as if they all understood that something monumental was about to unfurl. Lily moved ahead, fear and courage warring in her eyes. Every step she took echoed in Jack's mind. Don't go. It was a thought clawing at him, desperate and primal. But he knew she was determined, she needed this, whatever this was. Mia, with that haunting smile, seemed to melt into the shadows. We must begin, she urged, her voice slicing through the room. She can do it. Trust her heart. But what of Jack's heart? It pounded a warning, a siren blaring that something terrible lurked just below the surface. The crowd was transfixed, held hostage by the spectacle unfolding before them. Dad! Lily's voice rang clear, a lifeline thrown into a storm. I can feel it. I can feel her. Her words dripped with an urgency that electrified the air. Jack's pulse quickened, not just from fear but an overwhelming urge to protect her, to shield her from whatever dark magic Mia was weaving. The music crescendoed, wrapping around them like an invisible shroud. As Lily approached Mia, the older woman raised her arms in a gesture that seemed both inviting and foreboding. Listen. Mia's voice resonated, and the crowd hushed, captivated. This dance is a doorway, a bridge. It can illuminate what has been lost. Jack's mind whirled. What was lost? His daughter. Her childhood. The warmth of laughter they once shared. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the charged atmosphere. Jack's head whipped around to see the older woman who had collapsed earlier, now writhing on the floor, her face twisted in terror. The crowd gasped collectively, watching the spectacle unfold. Even the ones who had initially shouted for help now stood frozen, paralyzed by the bizarre energy coalescing in the room. Stay back. Jack shouted, racing forward as panic surged within him. But the thrumming music reached a fever pitch, exuding an aura that held him in place, robbed him of his will. He could only watch as Lily appeared to take on a life of her own, drawn deeper into Mia's spell. Dad! Lily cried again, an echo rich with fear and yearning. Help me understand. Mia swayed, eyes closed, expression ecstatic, oblivious to the woman in distress. It's happening. Feel it, Lily. Embrace it. Give in to the truth. Jack fought against the invisible grip, desperate to reach them. Each word struck him like shards of ice. What truth? Was it worth the danger? The shadows around them seemed to grow, creeping past his legs, hungry and insatiable. Lily, resist it. He barked, but the lights nearly blinded him, bursts of color swirling around the room. He felt like he was trapped in a dream he couldn't wake from, and a creeping doubt began to crack his resolve. Just as the air thickened to a suffocating weight, Mia's voice rose powerfully, a rallying call that pulled Lily even closer. Dance with me, Lily. Let the truth be your guide. The sound of their heartbeats resonated, weaving together in an almost rhythmic pulse that was both terrifying and intoxicating. And in that moment, Jack felt the fragile line between reality and the unknown begin to fray. What would Lily choose? As the haunting melody reached its peak, he found himself on the brink of a revelation he could neither comprehend nor escape. Was he losing her to something far more significant, or was it all a grand illusion? Before he could reach out, the lights exploded in a kaleidoscope of dazzling colors, and the world around him spun. And then it all stopped in the breathless silence that followed. A single question lingered in the air: what truths would be unleashed from the shadows, and would they be prepared for the consequences? Jack stood frozen in the sudden stillness, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The kaleidoscope of colors dimmed to a haunting glow, casting eerie shadows across the room. The crowd remained in a trance, caught between what had just occurred and the uncertainty of what was to come. He could feel the weight of their stares, eyes wide with a mix of awe and horror. With frantic determination, Jack tore his gaze from the crowd to find Lily, her face transformed, almost ethereal, as if caught in a different plane of existence. Mia hovered beside her, a predator reveling in the surrender of her prey. Come, my dear, Mia cooed, her voice dripping with an unnatural sweetness. This is where clarity begins. Dad! Lily called again, her voice breaking through the thick silence like a jolt of electricity. I understand now. I can see her. Fear clamped around Jack's chest like a vice. He stumbled forward, the crushing weight of dread mingling with a desperate hope. No. Don't trust her, Lily. He shouted, but the words felt hollow, lost in the dissonance of swirling energies that gripped the room. The collapsed woman on the floor lay motionless, framed by a sprawling collection of shadows that clung to her like a dark shroud. Was her struggle a warning? The thought turned Jack's stomach. What if Mia had a sinister plan? He wanted to bolt forward, to shake Lily back to her senses, yet his limbs felt as if they were tethered to the ground, while the music began to weave a new melody, one that pulled at the very essence of his being. What do you see? Mia asked, her gaze locking onto Lily's, their connection palpable, almost magnetic. Isn't it beautiful? Lily's expression flickered, caught between wonder and terror. I see shadows and light. A woman. She is sad. At that moment, Jack's heart sank. The woman's figure came to him, a fragile memory wrapped in sorrow, the maid who used to tell Lily stories, the one who had fallen ill and disappeared from their lives. The darkness that veiled the maid's laughter returned, choking off memories he had tried to bury. How had they ended up here, at the intersection of past life and lost potential? Mia! Jack barked, his voice cracking. This isn't right. Mia turned her attention to him, that infuriating smile plastered on her face. Oh, but it is. Don't you see? It's all connected. The dance can reveal everything. A pulse of energy shot through the crowd, and Jack felt it like an electric shock. People were opening their mouths in a twisted array of gasps and whispers, disbelief etched across their faces. He could feel the shift in the air, the impending chaos brewing just beneath the surface. As Lily leaned toward Mia, entranced, Jack fought the invisible chains wrapping tighter around him. "You can't let her deceive you." Each word felt like an anchor, battling against the wind. "Come back to me, Lily. Keep dancing," Mia coaxed, swaying, moving like smoke in the dark, "and the truth will unveil itself. Watch closely, it's all a part of the dance." Jack squinted as shadows began swirling at the edge of his vision. Figures flickered and twisted, their shapes morphing into memories fleeting, haunting. He saw colors that didn't belong, glimpsing the pain he thought he'd buried. The crowd was swaying, lost in an eerie rapture, each person a participant in this macabre performance. Lily gasped as her eyes widened, snapping back to reality. "Dad! I can't hold on." The fear in her voice pierced through the thick fog, shattering the trance that gripped everyone. Just as she took a step back, a scream erupted from the crowd, tearing through the music like a knife through flesh. Everything spiraled into chaos, the lights flickered erratically, the shadows writhed, and in that moment, Jack's heart raced faster than he ever thought possible. What had they opened a door to, and were they too late to close it? In the center of it all, Mia's laughter rang out an echo that promised secrets, chaos, and revelations that could change everything. Would they survive the truth unleashed? Or would it consume them entirely? Jack's pulse thundered in his ears, drowning out the chaotic cacophony around him. The looming shadows, sickly and stretched, seemed to dance with a life of their own, mocking the remnants of the broken reality he clung to. Lily's cry echoed in his mind, and he fought against the pull of Mia's seductive control. "Don't let her take you!" Jack shouted, his voice fighting through the waves of panic. He focused on the one thing that could break the spell: his Lily's spirit. "Remember our stories, Lil. Remember the Maid's laughter. Please." Yet, as he called for her, he felt the weight of the room shift. Eyes glazed over, entranced by the shadows and the ballet of whispers. It was as if the crowd were marionettes, each pulled taut by invisible strings connected to Mia, the master puppeteer. He gasped as he glimpsed the woman on the floor. Was that a flicker of life? A hand twitching? Or was it just another cruel trick of the dark? "Keep dancing!" Mia cried, her voice slithering through the confused mob, urging them into a deeper frenzy. "This is where you find freedom from pain, from the past." The energy coiled tighter around Jack. Every nerve alive as he took a determined step forward, feeling the strength of the walls behind him, as if solid ground was a distant memory. The vision of Lily falling into Mia's embrace filled him with desperation unlike any he had known. Fear crashed against hope, a violent battle that had him taut with tension, ready to snap. "Lily! Focus on me." His voice cracked, raw. "Forget her. You've got to fight." A flicker of hesitation crossed Lily's features, a powerful reminder of the love they shared. But just as quickly, it was swallowed by the writhing shadows enveloping her. The eerie music transformed, melody twisting into a siren's call. His daughter's brow furrowed, terror creeping back into her expression. Jack felt the pit in his stomach expand. Suddenly, a new commotion broke through the trance. A figure stumbled forward, eyes wide and wild, breaking the spell. Emily, the Maid's daughter. She had always been shy, usually hiding in her mother's shadow, but now she stood defiantly at the edge of the dance floor. "No!" she screamed, her voice cutting through the cacophony like a shard of glass. "You don't know what you're doing. Don't listen to her." Silence reigned for a heartbeat as the crowd turned towards her, confusion rippling like a wave. Mia's shrouded smile faltered just for an instant, revealing a flicker of rage. Jack seized the moment. "Lily. She's right. She knows." He pointed a trembling hand towards Emily, willing Lily to look away from Mia's spell. "Fight her. Fight for yourself." "I'm scared." Lily's whisper barely reached him. Tears brimmed in her wide eyes, reflecting the chaos around her. She was teetering on the brink of darkness, the shadows beckoning her. Get away from her! Jack roared, fighting against the magnetic pull of Mia's presence. The heaviness of the air became suffocating, as if each movement was trapped in a cage. With Emily's fierce plea still echoing in his mind, Jack stepped forward again amidst the swirling chaos. Help her! He shouted to the crowd, desperation leaking into his voice. We can fight this together. The collective fear morphed into confusion, eyes darting around, caught between their instincts and the haunting whispers. A ripple of resistance began weaving through the throng. But Mia wasn't letting go easily. No. You will dance. You will succumb. As Jack lunged toward Lily, the lights flickered one last time, chaos igniting all around them. He caught a glimpse of Mia's true nature, an abyss of despair that threatened the very core of his being. The music's pitch sharpened unnaturally, echoes climbing, reverberating off the walls, and in that instant, everything exploded. Shadows lunged, pulling at their souls like hungry specters. Jack felt the world spinning, the ground beneath him shifting dangerously. With fear gripping him, he made one final desperate reach toward his daughter. Lily! I want to let you go. And then a blind white light consumed everything. What truth lay beyond that blinding light, and would they emerge intact, or forever altered by the darkness lurking at the edges of their reality? When the bright light faded, Jack found himself standing in a vast emptiness. The surroundings felt weightless, like floating in a void that pulsed with an energy beyond comprehension. There was no sound, no shadows, just infinite clarity where his senses danced wildly. Lily! Fear clawed at his throat. He spun around, desperation flooding every inch of him. Emily! But no answer echoed back. It was just him and this terrifying silence, and he was engulfed in a profound loneliness that felt surreal. Suddenly, a flicker caught his attention. Jack turned, squinting into the haze. Shapes began to emerge, twisting and contorting like smoke. He fought against the instinct to recoil. Outlines solidified, and before him appeared a vast assembly of faces, each frozen in a moment of horror, mouths wide in sounds never uttered. Who are you? Jack shouted, urgency lacing his voice. Where's Lily? Where's Emily? One figure stepped forward. It was Emily, but she looked different. The innocence was gone, replaced by an ethereal glow. Her eyes sparkled, but they also bore the weight of knowledge too deep for someone her age. Jack, she whispered, voice echoing softly yet resonantly, as if it carried the weight of the universe. They're not gone. They're trapped, just like us. Jack's heart sank. Trapped? What do you mean? Panic surged again, and he fought to hold on to reason. How do we get them back? Look closer, Emily gestured, and the crowd of faces expanded, revealing more figures, shadows mingling with light. They're in the dance. The moment they fell into Mia's embrace, they surrendered their light. We must understand why. Jack stepped toward the gathering shadows, dread twisting around him like a vice. Each figure glimmered briefly, showing flashes of memories, moments filled with laughter, warmth, and the bittersweet ache of loss. Then, just as quickly, those moments were veiled by darkness, smothering light as Mia's voice pierced through his mind. Dance, it's a release, she whispered, swirling around the edges of his thought, and it chilled him to the bone. No. Jack screamed at the encroaching whispers. No. You don't understand, it's a prison. They didn't choose it. Emily's eyes narrowed, concern etched across her features. You must fight, Jack. Find their light, remind them of who they are before it's too late. The words sank in, awakening a determination within him that ignited his spirit. This was no mere battle against a dark force, it was a war for their very souls. Faced with the haunting echoes of his daughter's laughter and the memories of love shared, he felt a fire ignite in his chest. Lily. Jack called, his voice steadying. You are strong. Remember the stories. Remember the love. His voice rang with conviction, cutting through the dissonant chorus, but Mia's laughter, sinister and mocking, ricocheted in the hollow space. You think you can awaken them? You are as lost as they are. In that moment, reality twisted again, and the shadows undulated, collapsing around him. Jack felt dizzy, as if being tugged apart by hidden hands. Waves of despair surged, and for a heartbeat, he feared he might drown in the dark that he pressed forward, adrenaline fueling every breath. Lily. You are not lost. You are loved. But with each shout, Mia's grip tightened, and Jack's chest constricted painfully. The light flickered around him, fading again as the music of despair seeped in. In an instant, everything changed. The ground beneath him trembled violently, and a crack split the emptiness. Jack stumbled back, heart racing as the void began swallowing the flickering memories. Jack! Emily's voice screamed above the cacophony, extending a hand towards him. You must go. Find Lily. Fight for her. He took a step toward her, but the crack opened wider, threatening to consume them both. I won't leave you. The ground shook violently, threatening to tear him apart. With determination thrusting him forward, Jack made his choice. He leaped toward the fading light, calling out to his daughter with every ounce of love in his soul. And then darkness enveloped him. Once more what awaited him on the other side? Would he rescue Lily and Emily, or find himself imprisoned in Mia's malevolent world forever? Jack's vision blurred as the darkness swirled around him, like a storm swallowing the last light of day. He felt weightless, an endless fall punctuated by fleeting thoughts of his daughter. Lily, Emily, he whispered, emotions crashing through him like waves, each one pulling him under further. A jolt of energy surged through him unexpectedly, snapping his senses alive that he gasped, and the void shattered into rays of vibrant colors, illuminating a landscape he was forced to confront. In the distance, a surreal scene began to unfold. He stumbled forward as the figure of a girl spun gracefully atop a vast stage made of shimmering light. It was Lily, her laughter echoing sweetly, yet tinged with a haunting quality. Lily! Jack's heart thundered. He pressed forward, straining to break free of the invisible chains that bound him. The closer he got, the more he felt the grip of the darkness tightening around him like a vice. Suddenly, Mia appeared, her presence a chilling shadow in the midst of the vibrant spectacle. You shouldn't have come here, Jack, she sneered, her voice dripping with mockery. This dance, it thrives on despair. Every move they make draws their light deeper into my grasp. Jack's blood ran cold. He had to act quickly. He locked eyes with Lily, watching her spin amidst the flickering lights. There was a flicker of recognition in her gaze, a spark that pleaded for him. He could feel her strength, but it was buried beneath layers of darkness. Lily! He shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. Listen to me. You are stronger than this. For a moment, confusion passed over her enchanted expression as if she was awakening from a dream. But just as quickly, Mia's wicked laughter enveloped the air. Oh, Jack, you're so naive. Their joy is just an illusion, a moment stolen in the abyss. Jack could see it, Mia was weaving the dark threads, a puppet master controlling the dance. But he wouldn't let her win. Lily, remember when we used to dance in the living room? Jack recalled, heart racing. The songs we sang. The stories we shared. You are not just a shadow in this dance. You are light. With every word, he saw her hesitate, the spell faltering. The shadows surrounding her flickered as if reflecting her struggle. Dad? Lily finally murmured, her eyes glistening with hope and confusion. Help me, yes. I'm here. He yelled. Fight back. Feel my love. Remember who you are. But suddenly, the ground beneath him shattered, and Jack found himself teetering on the edge of an abyss, the fabric of the scenery crumbling. He stumbled, fear rushing through him. Clutching at the edge, he felt an uncontrollable force pulling him down. "Jack!" Emily's voice cut through the chaos, bright as a beacon. She appeared beside him, extending a hand. "You must pull her back. Don't let them win." Together they reached out, hands straining toward Lily as Mia seethed, trying to reclaim control over the twisted dance. Jack's heart raced, burning with fear but also fierce determination. "I won't let you take any more," he cried. "Lily, hold on to me." With one last surge, he reached out, feeling a tug of light struggling to break free from the darkness. Would this be enough? And in that breathless moment, Jack found himself teetering, hope colliding with despair, as the darkness threatened to engulf them all. What would happen next? Could they break Mia's hold before it was too late, or had they stepped too close to the edge of oblivion? Jack's world spun into chaos as he reached desperately for his daughter. Time seemed to stretch, and every heartbeat felt like a countdown to their fates. The swirling darkness pulsed around them, trying to ensnare him and pull him down into the shadowy depths. But he couldn't let it. Not now. Not when Lily needed him most. "Lily. Please. You have to hold on," he shouted, his voice a lifeline cutting through the storm. He felt her tethered spirit reach back through the murk, a spark igniting an ember deep within him. "Dad." Her voice broke, raw and urgent. "I feel you. But it's so dark I can't see." "Then trust me. Remember our dance in the living room? Remember the laughter? The stories? You're not just a whisper in the shadows, you are strong. You are my light." As he shouted, a chorus of memories began to unfurl in Jack's mind: the twirls, the laughter, the warmth of Lily's small hands clasping his. A flicker sparked within Lily's eyes, a tiny glimmer in the vast void that surrounded her. I remember." She took one trembling step forward, seemingly breaking free of the dark cocoon around her. Mia seethed, her once charming façade cracking under the pressure. "No. You can't escape just yet. The dance is not finished." But Jack refused to back down. He glared at Mia, the reality of her manipulation flooding him with fury. "The dance isn't yours to control. It belongs to those with love in their hearts." Together, he and Emily reached out, anchored by their resolve and the unbreakable bond of family. Hand in hand, they called out together, "Lily. Come to us." In that moment, as if the universe conspired to respond, the shadows recoiled against their harmony. The cacophony of darkness began to unravel, colors swirling madly as blasts of light erupted from the cracks they had created, dancing back toward Jack, Emily, and even Mia. Fueled by the warmth of love and memories, Lily stood more firmly, her body radiating a light that pierced the thick fog of despair around her. "I can see you. I can see the truth." "No." Mia screamed, her false warmth crumbling to reveal the icy tendrils she had woven in deceit. The ground shook violently, but Jack held on, the tether of hope becoming unbreakable. Jack lunged forward, feeling the pull of the abyss lessening. "Lily. Come back to the light." She nodded fiercely, the shadows clinging reluctantly to her as she broke free. With each step, the darkness around them began to flutter like leaves in a tempest. Mia hissed in frustration, trying to reclaim her hold, but her power waned as Lily's light enveloped them both, an ethereal glow that enveloped all in its warmth. "Together." Jack yelled, eyes blazing with determination. "Together," echoed Emily, with the strength of truth in their communion. They surged forward, and just as Mia's icy grasp seemed ready to snatch them back, Jack and the girls jumped toward the swirling light, fully embracing it. The shadows erupted in a burst of brilliant luminescence, flooding the chasm. A scattering of memories danced on the breeze, filaments of laughter, connections once lost now restored. "Let go of them, Mia," Jack demanded, his voice steely. "Your darkness cannot hold against the light of love." With a final push, Lily stepped into the radiance, arms outstretched. The connection surged stronger than it ever had as their united love splintered the darkness, freeing not just themselves but all those caught in Mia's malevolence. Mia, enraged and outmatched, screeched as tendrils of darkness recoiled from the light as the room around them erupted in brilliance. The shards of memories embedded in the shadows began to flicker and fade, severing the ties that had chained them to despair. Jack shielded his eyes as the blinding light enveloped him, but he felt relieved in an instant, the suffocating weight of loss dissipating like mist in the sun. The familiar warmth of joy rushed into his heart as he heard the lilting laughter of his daughter echoing through the dissolving darkness. As they landed back in the mansion, the ballroom lay still and quiet, the chaotic energy giving way to a serene calmness. Jack looked around, every face slowly awakening from the trance that had gripped them, their eyes clearing from the eerie fog. "Lily? Are you okay?" He pulled her into a fierce embrace. Her warmth wrapped around him, grounding him in the reality he had fought for. "I'm all right, Dad," she whispered, her voice rolling with emotion. "I was scared." Jack smiled through his tears, the weight of fear lifting. "You did it, Lily. You found the light." Emily joined their embrace, bonding over love that had conquered shadows. And as the three stood together, alongside a crowd of survivors, the warmth of healing settled around them like a comforting blanket. Mia's laughter faded to echoes, replaced by whispered tales of truth and resilience that emanated from all those who had been swept up in her web. As the sun sank below the horizon, Jack finally took a breath of relief, knowing that the love shared between them was invincible, a light that would never go out, leading them forward into tomorrow. They stood together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next. And as the evening intensified with the sun's final rays, the echoes of laughter and stories filled the air like music, crafting a new beginning for each of them, unhindered by shadows. Now, hear this. You need to subscribe immediately to catch all our exclusive stories and moments. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions. I want to hear what you think about this tense conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful ending. Your voice matters. Let us spread the light.